Hello crafty friends, I'm Lean from Studio Kato, so happy to be back on the Alex Syberia Designs YouTube channel today and joining this video hop as well. For this video hop, we got a bunch of amazing guests together to share their inspiration with the new Sunkissed Memories release. And you definitely want to hop along and see every video and leave a comment on every video because there is a chance to win one of the gift cards. I'll give you some more information later on in this video. To start out with, I am using the Underwater Wonders stamp set to stamp a bunch of critters. I'm not going to color them all here because I'm not going to use them all on this card. I stamped all of my critters for this release all together while I was crafting to be a little bit more efficient. I'm using Memento Tuxedo black ink and I'm stamping them all at once. The other critters you see here are from the Pengu-tastic Holiday stamp set. Those are the beach themed critters and the other ones are all ocean themed. So I'm coloring these mermaids in with my Ohuhu Markers. If you're thinking why I'm coloring in these mermaid arms black, it's because these are penguins dressed up as mermaids, because why not? We can have anything we want on our cards, and I love these penguin mermaids. I've sped up this coloring quite a bit, but I always do the same thing anyway. I just use my darkest marker first, and then I work my way through usually 3 markers, darkest, medium tone, and a lighter shade, until I arrive at the lightest shade I have. And I try to build up the contrast as much as I can, so a big difference between dark and light is what I'm aiming for here. Off screen, I did also color in a bunch of the scenic elements from this Underwater Wonders stamp set. Those are coral pieces and seaweed and things like that. They're really fun to build your scene, and I think they add a lot to this card as well. Once the coloring is all done, I am going to put this sheet back into my Misty, and I'm going to stamp them all again. Now, this is an extra step. You don't have to do this, but I think it's totally worth it. It's 2 minutes extra, and I think 2 minutes is over aiming a little bit. I think it takes me an extra minute or so. I just stamp all of these again with Versafine Onyx black ink to get a really crisp black outline, and also because I can emboss with it. So I'm adding some clear gloss superfine embossing powder by Wow to this as well, and this is going to give me that shiny, very crisp black outline, and I think that just makes all the difference. It makes your images look so much more, detailed. It's so fun to have a really crisp black outline to an image. I'm heating that up with my Wow Dual Speed heat tool, and once they're all done, I am going to use the coordinating dies to cut them out. For my background, I'm doing some stenciling. I am first going to tape a piece of white cardstock down to my stenciling mat. It's just a laminated sheet of white cardstock, and I'm using this new Seaside Swirls stencil. I love this stencil. It's obviously very fun for sea scenes or ocean scenes. It's perfect for that, but because the waves are more abstract, you can easily use this just as a fun background on its own, just add a sentiment to it, or as a background for a floral image. That would be really fun, and I've seen tons of people do that already, and it's gorgeous every time. I'm first stenciling this on white cardstock with some Distress Oxide Pumice stone ink. This is pretty much the only Oxide ink I still use, because it really looks like it's sort of luminescent when you blend it on white. It feels like it's just going to jump off the page. It's such a light gray ink, but it makes a huge impact on white cardstock. This is just going to be a very subtle background for my card. I am going to create an actual scene as well, but I'm going to do that on a smaller piece of cardstock. I'm going to start off with colored cardstock for that, and I have already die cut it with the Nested Scalloped Frames die set from Alex Syberia Designs. It's from the last release, actually, from the April release, and it's a really great basic. I'm using Conquer the Ninth Aqua Sky cardstock, and I'm adding on Conquer the Ninth inks as well. These blend really nicely, and because I started off with blue cardstock, I don't have to worry too much about my blending. I don't have to cover a white piece of cardstock. I just have to add a little bit more depth to this already blue piece. I'm keeping my ink blending pretty light here. I'm using a light hand because I want to add more intense colors through the stencil. So I'm going to do a tone-on-tone stenciling to make the waves a little bit less, just a little bit more subtle, and that is going to create a very fun background for my critters. Now, I say this, I'm using the stencil, and in the end, there's a very happy coincidence where the stenciled lines on this scene line up perfectly with the gray stenciled background I did before. That was not intentional. I don't know how that happened. But I guess you can try to replicate it by perfectly centering your scalloped piece here on the stencil. Because apparently I did that accidentally. Sometimes happy accidents happen. So like I said, I am just going to do a tone-on-tone look here. I am blending the darker colors a little bit higher than I did while I was just ink blending on the paper itself without using the stencil. So I have a darker, just darker waves going on. You can see it here. It's a really fun look. I am going to add some splatter to this as well, just using my darkest ink. I am wetting that a little bit so I can just splatter it on. Now, this paper is not meant for water, so you can see the splatters don't stay perfect circles. They spread out a little bit. To help stop that, just heat set it immediately. I'm also going to add some silver splatters just with some metallic watercolors. Now, I mentioned a giveaway, didn't I? So Alex Syberia Designs is very graciously giving away 3 25-pound gift cards to the Alex Syberia Designs shop. So there will be 3 very lucky winners on this YouTube hop, and they can win a $25 shopping spree with Alex Syberia Designs. And all you have to do for a chance to win one of the 3 gift cards is just leave comments on each stop of the hop. We are very grateful that so many wonderful designers joined this YouTube hop. They are sure to share amazing inspiration with you guys, so the videos are already worth watching anyway. But especially because if you leave a comment on each video, you get more chances to win those gift cards. I'm just putting this card together now. I backed that scalloped frames piece with another one just for some extra stability. And because I already had a die cut, actually, I had it laying around and I thought, why not? I also cut a bunch of white frames and a silver one that I'm going to stack together. These are all cut with a nested scalloped frames die set, which is very cleverly designed. You get the scalloped pieces separate from the rectangles, and if you put them together you can create frames, but you don't have to, so you get really a lot of use out of this die set. To add more dimension to this little scene, I am backing it with a piece of cardboard. I think it's great to recycle those boxes where I receive my crafty goodies in, and it's also very sturdy dimension. It's very cheap, obviously, because it's just recycling. It's sturdier than foam tape, and it's lighter than stacking a bunch of pieces of cardstock behind it to add that same dimension. So I love cardboard. I am going to add my critters and some of those scenic elements up on foam tape. Some of them I just glue down straight onto the frame, and I don't have to add foam tape behind them like this little coral piece. I did play around with the placement before filming this part, just so you don't think that I immediately glue things down and just hope for the best. I don't. I meticulously search out the best placement for each piece first, and then once I'm happy with it, I start gluing everything down. I had so much fun creating this little scene. It doesn't have too many elements, it's not too busy, but there's just enough to make it more of a scene instead of just mermaids on a card, and I love that. I'm going to prop them up on some foam tape as well, those little mermaids just in the center of my frame. Waving high, I wanted to add a sentiment to this, but I didn't really know where to put it. There is a really fun sentiment stamp set in this release that works perfectly with all the sea and beach critters. Yeah, it's just really, really fun. Lots of puns in that stamp set as well. The next stop in the hop is Bunny Crane. I always enjoy watching her videos, so I'm sure this one will be great as well. But you can find all the links to every single designer that is joining us today, which again we are very grateful for, in the description down below, so you don't miss a single video in this hop. Leave comments along each stop of the hop to win those gift cards, but also just enjoy the videos because I'm sure they will share a ton of fun inspiration with this new release. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.